Hello fellow lovers of the liminal and the weird, and welcome to another video by Liminal Spaces. I have quite a few things to go over today, lots of little news items and information about the channel, but it should be entertaining because I'm going to talk about a lot of the things that I have watched recently, and there's been quite a few. So we'll start with just the news. I recently heard that Shelley Duvall died. That made me kind of sad. It made me think about the shows that I watched with Shelley Duvall when I was a kid. I kind of grew up with her. Of course, she was in Popeye. She was also in The Shining, and she kicked butt in that movie. But what I remember Shelley Duvall for the most is her TV show that ran throughout the 80s called Fairy Tale Theater. Loved that show. Watched it all the time. So I went back and watched through a couple of those older episodes when I heard that she had passed. So yeah, that was pretty sad. I was sad to hear that. In other news, it looks like they're making a TV series of Time Bandits, and it's Jermaine Clement, which I think is the guy from Flight of the Conchords, but Taika Waititi, I hope I said his name right. Yeah, so that looks super fun. I loved the movie Time Bandits as a kid as well. For some odd reason, what I remember the most is them putting like a needle through the boat and sticking it onto the giant's head. I hope that's the right movie I'm thinking of. But yeah, Time Bandits is getting a remake with some directors that I enjoy, so that should be a lot of fun. Next, I wanted to talk about what I've been watching. I recently watched a video made by Daniel Otto Jack Peterson, aka Dr. Rockus. I hope I'm saying that right. But he is a scholar on R.A. Lafferty, and recently Virgil and I made videos about R.A. Lafferty. He made one that inspired me to try to read R.A. Lafferty, and then I read a bunch of R.A. Lafferty and made a video about that. I made a video on his brilliant short story Configuration of the North Shore, which is in this book here, Orbit 5. It's an anthology, and this short story has become one of the main short stories in our Dream Machine subgenre or trope that we've been talking about here on this channel quite a bit. And Dr. Rockus made a video that was a response to Virgil's video that inspired me to do my R.A. Lafferty video. And now Dr. Rockus has done a response to Virgil's video and to our video. And that was really incredible. It was wonderful to have somebody that is so educated in R.A. Lafferty discuss our amateur takes on those stories. Talking about books on YouTube is an interesting thing to do because I think it falls, for me personally, the attack that I take on it is somewhere between academia and entertainment, because I think that having a bit of an academic side to it adds to the entertainment. And one of the things that I talk about when I talk about academic writing or academic discourse with my students is that it is a conversation. That, for instance, when you're writing a college paper, you don't want to just find another paper as a source and copy that paper's ideas in your own words. You want to say something new about the subject. You want to add to the conversation. And I find it really interesting that in this case, our conversations on Lafferty have been a discourse, a conversation where we're building off of what each person has said. And I find that really interesting and really fulfilling to see this level of discourse about a writer that I've just kind of stumbled into because Virgil made a video about it, and somebody on the channel recommended a really great short story. But I am really happy to see such an incredible response video. I'm going to link it, of course, down in the description. And it seems like we're talking about taking this a little bit further. Dr. Rockus is putting together perhaps a panel discussion that I'm super excited about. But please go over and watch his video. It was absolutely incredible. It was fun to see such a thorough and deep discussion about one of my own videos. That was really fun for me to watch. So thank you, Dr. Rockus, for doing that. It was wonderful, and I do look forward to talking more about Lafferty with you in the future, hopefully on a panel. That would be super fun. I also recently watched Inside Out 2 with my daughter, and that was super fun. I found it interesting because I watched it a little bit after I made the video about the dream machines and the exploration of the subconscious trope and all of that. And then I went and saw this kids movie that was about a visualization of what the subconscious looks like in people's brain. Inside Out is kind of the kids' version of our trope. And I know that there's no dream machine, so it doesn't really fit perfectly in our trope, but it was very interesting to see that take on it, and I thought it was really incredible. I know the first Inside Out absolutely revolutionized the way that people, especially neurodivergent individuals, were able to discuss their emotion, which was super, super cool. And I think this one continues that. I enjoyed it very much. It was a lot of fun. And I liked that it kind of fit the theme of the channel as of recently. That was very cool. I also recently went and saw the movie Longlegs. This section is going to include a couple of spoilers. So if you haven't seen Longlegs yet, go ahead and skip this part of the video. Just fast forward a bit because I am going to discuss some aspects of it that will spoil starting now. So if you want to skip, go ahead and do it now. So this movie ended up being a cursed doll movie, which I really enjoyed. I haven't really seen a cursed doll movie in a while. This is a doll that was made by my great aunt, my grandmother's sister, and she made dolls. Her whole house was covered in these dolls, and when we'd go up there, my little niece would be terrified every time we'd go up there of all these dolls. So I asked my mom if I could borrow this one that was given to her when her aunt died, my great aunt died, and I thought that she would fit the part perfectly for us to talk about creepy dolls. It is interesting. Like I said, when we'd go up to visit my great aunt, my niece couldn't sleep the night there or anything because of all the dolls that were around. And that kind of starts to speak to the concept of humans being afraid of dolls. And of course, we can't talk about the fear of dolls without talking about the uncanny valley, which is the concept of something being close to human, but just off a little bit. And in this portion of the video, I'm going to have to just take a quick moment to disagree with my brother on only one aspect of what he said about the Longlegs movie, and that is that the dolls weren't creepy enough. I absolutely disagree. The worst way to try to make a doll creepy is to mess with it too much. The closer that a doll just looks to being a human doll, in my opinion, the scarier that the doll is. And this movie really hit on that. And being an old reader and lover of horror movies, I was super happy to see a really solid cursed doll movie. I haven't seen one in a while, and it made me really happy. So I think that this movie was incredible. I think that it's absolutely worth a watch, and it made me think really quick of just how much I like the cursed doll genre, and some of the, I think, better takes on that. So I just wanted to talk about cursed dolls for just a second. But before I do that, really quick, I just wanted to talk about what I wanted at the end of Longlegs. My brother talked about in the movie that he felt that the blurring of reality needed to happen a little stronger at the end of the movie. As I was watching, I'm going to tell you what I thought was going to happen. So, of course, this is spoilers again. If you haven't seen Longlegs, go see it. But in the end, the only person left to save, because everybody has been killed, is the little girl that has the doll. And the movie ends with the FBI detective grabbing the little girl off the couch and pulling her away from the doll and holding her hand to the side, and then trying to shoot the doll, which has been established earlier in the movie. If you shoot the doll, it releases the child, because we saw it happen to the FBI agent. But when she tries to shoot the doll, her gun won't go off. Jason interpreted this as there being no more bullets in the gun, which is, of course, the obvious interpretation. There's nothing wrong with that interpretation, but I went a little bit different, and perhaps it's my training in reading horror novels so often as a kid, but I had an expectation that this movie was going to make a different statement, and that was the statement that she was going to replace Longlegs as the person that takes these cursed dolls around, or her mother. So what I expected was for her to fire the gun, and it just clicks, it doesn't work. So she turns in fear to look at the girl whose hand she's holding, and when she turns and looks, it turns out that she's actually holding the doll's hand. At which point we'd realize that the gun did go off and she killed the child, thinking that she had taken the child, when in reality she took the doll because the cursed doll has tricked her. That is what I expected to happen at the end, because it would open up a kind of a whole new concept of who was going to take over in the this kind of cursed position. And we know that the young girl, in order for the curses to continue, has to die. So that's kind of what I expected to happen. We've had a lot of cursed dolls. We've had Chucky. What was that trilogy of terror in the 80s? Where they had that little, it looked like kind of an African doll. That scared me a lot when I was a kid. But I find that just bringing the doll to life and then making it a monster movie doesn't have as much nuance as what I prefer in cursed doll narratives. So, and I love those. It's just they're not my favorite. That's not exactly what I go to with a cursed doll novel. Annabelle has flirted with the concepts of cursed doll novels, or cursed doll ideas, that I kind of enjoy. Although in the end that also kind of becomes a monster movie. The Annabelle Creations one was good. I liked that one. But when I think of cursed dolls, I like the aspect of the doll getting into a person's head and passing that curse onto them. So I don't necessarily need the doll to be moving around. I need the doll to be infiltrating every aspect of the owner's life, changing the owner. That's when a cursed doll story gets interesting, and I feel like Longlegs really did that. And it reminded me of, probably my favorite cursed doll story is from a John Saul book called The Blackstone Chronicles. Here is my first edition copy of the Blackstone Chronicles. This came out after Stephen King did The Green Mile. John Saul decided he also wanted to do a serial. King kind of brought back the way novels used to be published way back in the day, where they'd do a chapter every week or whatever, and then you'd go to the bookstore and buy it, and then once it was all done, you'd have it published. I mean, you'd have it bound by your bookbinder. Stephen King kind of brought that back with The Green Mile, and the Blackstone Chronicles I really enjoyed. It's interesting because it's kind of like Stephen King's Needful Things, in that there's a person that keeps randomly delivering cursed objects to people. But in my opinion, the first of the Blackstone Chronicles, and each of these is a different cursed object, is the first one, An Eye for an Eye, the doll. And as you can tell, it's super short. And you don't need to read the entire Blackstone Chronicles to enjoy any one of these cursed tales. But in my opinion, this first one is absolutely the best. John Saul his prose aren't as instantly grabbing as King's, but His stories always have a creep to them that I really enjoy, and this is one of his best. And when I think of cursed dolls, this, and I didn't do any research on this, so I could be missing a bunch. I thought about cursed dolls because of Longlegs. When I think about cursed dolls, this is the story that comes to mind as my absolute favorite. So if you want more cursed doll stuff, check out the Blackstone Chronicles Part 1, An Eye for an Eye, The Doll by John Saul. It's a really good time. I wanted to try to get her head to move, but she's all porcelain, so I don't want to break this. My mom would kill me. Thanks for letting me borrow the doll, Mom. Another one I thought of recently that I really enjoyed, which actually doesn't fit in the cursed doll category, but has to go in the cursed doll category, is the movie The Boy. I don't know if you guys remember that movie, but it's the setup is incredible. I'll do the setup and then I'll tell you it's going to be spoilers. There is a person that is hired as a nanny by a very odd rich couple who's going on vacation, that own a doll, and they treat this doll like it's their son. They feed it, they talk to it, they treat it like it is absolutely their son, and this woman has to come and be a nanny, and they're very serious about, you must treat this doll as if it's alive. And that movie scared me good. It was a good time. I kept waiting for that doll to move. Okay, I'm going to spoil this movie really quick, just so that I can continue to talk about the movie as a cursed doll movie. It turns out that the doll is not cursed like you're expecting throughout the entire movie. It turns out that their kid is an insane grown man that's living, I haven't seen this for a while, so if I get any of this wrong, I'm sorry, that's living in the walls of their house. And when they, like he moves the doll around, and when they feed the doll, he comes and gets the food. So the whole time we thought we were dealing with a cursed doll, we were actually dealing with this kid. So yeah, that's another good cursed doll. They made a part 2 of it, which I don't know how they even pulled off. I never saw it because I thought the idea was so dumb. If you've seen the second one, let me know. I think the second one, they might just make the doll start moving, which makes it an actual cursed doll story. Anyway, I'm sorry. Longlegs got me all inspired about cursed dolls. Great horror trope. Absolutely love it. And I was glad to see it in the theater. What a wild ride Longlegs was. Okay, channel update. We have got 15,000 subscribers. That's incredible. Thank you to everyone who has joined recently, and welcome aboard. We're glad to have you here. And to everybody that's been watching for longer than that, thank you as well. We love hearing all your thoughts and comments, and it's been just absolutely wonderful doing this. What we plan to do next. I plan to be reading a lot. I'm 50 pages. No, I'm actually about 25 pages away from being done with Claw of the Conciliator. I said that so many times, so easily, and now all of a sudden I'm having trouble with it. By Gene Wolfe, the second of the Shadow of the Torturer series. What is it? The Book of the New Sun? But I am going on vacation. I'm taking my daughter to Southern California. We're going to see the Sequoia National Forest. I want to see some big old trees. I've never seen big old trees before, so that's very exciting. But what it means is that Jason's going to be kind of taking care of the channel on his own for about a week and a half. So there won't be any videos from me for about another week and a half, but I leave it in the very capable hands of my brother Jason. And what he plans to do is, because they're coming out with a new Time Bandits TV series, he is going to do the Time Bandits TV show, or he's going to do the original Time Bandits movie. He's going to talk about that on the channel. And then he's also going to do another Ray Bradbury story, so you can look forward to that. I'm sorry that there won't be any videos from me for a bit, but I will be back after about a week and a half. So you will hear from me again in the future soon. I do plan on logging into the channel's Instagram on my phone, and I will be posting reading updates and maybe pictures of the sequoias and all that kind of stuff on there. So if you're not a follower on our Instagram, go ahead and jump over there, and I'll put a link in the description and follow us on Instagram. I think that's everything for me. Sorry, this might have been a bit of a convoluted video. I had a lot to tell you, but I'm glad I got it all out there. I am officially going on vacation tomorrow, so I'll see you all in a week and a half. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you liked the video. Click subscribe if you like this kind of content. And I will see you in a week and a half.